Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to give you my most favorite, most best, most famous recipe for macaroni and cheese. Alright, if you're new here, my name is Claire. My channel is all about mom stuff, lady stuff, and life stuff, so definitely hit that subscribe button down below if you are into any of that. Thank you so much for coming back. If you frequent this channel, you may know I love to make easy, simple dishes. I am not much of an amazing cook, which is why I think that a lot of my recipes resonate with a lot of you, because we can't all be Martha Stewart, right? So this recipe is probably what I am most known for. I take it to like Thanksgiving, I take it to barbecues, dishes to pass. It is not your basic macaroni and cheese. It has some tweakings that I have added over the years of making this. This is my own recipe. I didn't take it from the internet. I guess I took pieces from things I've seen here and there, but this is something I've developed completely on my own. And if you like to watch my videos, you know I love Aldi, and anytime I can buy anything from Aldi, I do. But I will say, disclaimer here, there are some items not from Aldi. I know, shocking, but there are a couple things I just can't get at Aldi. However, the majority of these products are from Aldi, including all of the cheese I'm using. I will leave a full recipe and ingredient list in the description down below if you want to try out my mac and cheese method. But yeah, stick around and I will show you exactly how to make it. For this recipe, you are going to need some pasta. I have selected one called cassarecci pasta, and it's these little twists that I think hold the cheese sauce really well. These are from Aldi. The cheeses I'm going to use today, I have some extra sharp cheddar, I have some Asiago, I have Havarti, and I also have smoked Gouda. I'm also going to be using some Panko breadcrumbs right at the end, as well as some milk, some butter with a little bit of flour to make my roux in the beginning, and my secret ingredient, cheddar cheese soup. You can't make mac without this, I swear. Now actually the barbecue I'm going to is much later today, and it's actually about 3 hours away from where I am right now. So if you are preparing this for maybe the next day or later, or you're traveling, I'm actually going to make the pasta and the cheese sauce separately, and I'm not going to combine them until I'm ready to throw it in the oven and bake it. So the first thing I'm going to do is boil some water, get my noodles going. Before I actually start the cheese sauce, I'm going to prepare my cheese. This is actually an 8-ounce block of Asiago. You are not going to need this whole thing. Asiago is a pretty strong cheese, so I usually grate about half of it. It adds just a ton of flavor. I find that it adds a lot more flavor than Parmesan, and it melts a little bit better than Parmesan, and it'll just get that super cheesy flavor. So I'm just gonna grate about half of this block. Alright, so I have about 4 ounces of Asiago, all nicely shredded, and I'm gonna set that aside. The other block of cheese I got today is extra sharp cheddar. I'm actually not going to put the cheddar in the sauce. This is gonna go on top, so I'm not gonna worry about this yet. The other cheese that's gonna go in my sauce is Havarti and smoked Gouda. Now, if you are not a cheese person, or maybe not an adventurous cheese person, you might not have tried these, or maybe even thought about using them as a macaroni and cheese, but both of them melt really well. Especially Havarti is a super creamy cheese. This package is 8 ounces, this package is 7 ounces. You need about a half a pound of each of these cheeses to make this. Sometimes you can find the smoked Gouda in the wax rounds for a little bit cheaper. Then you'll have to grate it. Oftentimes I go up to my deli counter and get them sliced if I'm not at an Aldi, but these packages are both from Aldi. I want to point out that it is important in this recipe to use the smoked Gouda. You don't need to worry that it's going to be too smoky. If you just use regular Gouda, it doesn't really have enough flavor to really make an impact in your mac. The smoked Gouda makes all the difference, so make sure it is smoked. Because these are already sliced, I don't need to shred them or do anything like that, which makes this recipe real easy today. All right, I'm gonna start my sauce by making a roux, which is a very basic, like just sauce base. So I'm gonna start with 4 tablespoons of butter, and that's all the butter you're gonna need. So you can go ahead and put that away. Now that my butter is all melted, I'm gonna add some flour to it. I'm gonna do it 1 tablespoon at a time. And I'll need probably 4 tablespoons, 3 or 4 tablespoons. To the roux, I'm going to slowly whisk in 2 cups of milk. Now that my milk and my roux are combined, I'm going to go ahead and start adding all of this beautiful cheese. I find that the smoked Gouda takes the longest to melt, so I start with that one and I just rip it up into little pieces into the milk. This is on a very low heat setting. If you cook your cheese sauce at a higher setting, that's when a lot of times it'll get kind of chunky, and you want it to stay nice and smooth. So I'm just gonna cook it low and slow. Alright, so you'll notice now that all of the cheese is melting pretty nicely, but it is pretty kind of lumpy still. So you're just gonna need to keep stirring it on that nice low heat. And now is the time we add the secret ingredient, which is not a secret anymore, and that is the soup. I'm probably only going to need 1 can of this soup. I always buy 2 just in case, because it's a nice way if for some reason it ends up getting too thick and you need to make it a little bit creamier, you can just add a little milk and some more cheddar cheese soup to it to kind of save it, because sometimes that's happened to me where I've left it on too long, it gets a little chunky, and we don't want that. So I always buy an extra can just in case I need to do that. And this is also what's gonna give it that great mac and cheese color. It is just so smooth and velvety. It's not gritty or chunky, how sometimes melted cheddar especially can get. So sometimes these little brown things, those are actually those little rinds from the Gouda, which isn't a problem. You could cut them, if you wanted to, but that doesn't really matter that much to me. Now I'm not gonna add any salt because this cheese is pretty salty as it is. Oh, I lost my whisk. I'm just gonna add some pepper. This is just to taste. A lot of people like to add salt and pepper as they serve themselves their macaroni and cheese. So I don't go too overboard with spicing it beforehand. But I do want to add just a bit of pepper. This is a lot of cheese sauce, so you can get away with, a few teaspoons of that pepper. And whew, they're really hot. I am gonna add just a teeny little bit of oil. Normally I would use olive oil, but I just looked in my cupboard and I'm completely out of olive oil. So I'm just drizzling a little tiny bit of oil over those because I don't want them to stick together. I'm just gonna kind of mix that oil around in there because yeah, you definitely don't want to pull up to your party and just have a giant brick noodle. And now I have a cover for it, and I'm gonna take this with me to the party. Next, I have another container that I'm gonna put my cheese in. Obviously, if you're not traveling anywhere, you can just put the cheese right in your pasta, but this is an extra step I have to do today. I'm also gonna put my panko with this, and I'm gonna shred maybe half of this brick of cheddar, put it in a baggie, and put it with my pile to go. All right, so now I'm gonna get the boys ready. We're gonna go visit our family members who live a little ways away. And once I'm there, I'll whip my camera back out, show you how I put it all together, and of course, see everybody's reactions when they try this amazing macaroni and cheese. All right, so I am here at our little barbecue, and I've got my prepared noodles ready, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix my cheese sauce in, and I'm gonna add some panko on top. You can use Italian breadcrumbs, you can put bacon bits on there, you can just melt some cheese on there. I love the little crunch of a panko on top. So I would say I'm gonna use probably about half a cup of panko on top. I'm also gonna put some of that shredded extra sharp cheddar on top, just like, you know, half a cup or so. Not very much, just because it is a really strong cheese. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna pop it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes, just to make sure everything's nice and hot, and that the cheese is all melty, and that the panko is nice and crisp.
Dish of macaroni and cheese. Claire's famous recipe. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Crunchy on top. Cheesy.
Can you tell my mom is my biggest fan?
It's the best.
Look at that. Look at that cheesiness, guys. This is where it's at.
Yum.
All right, you guys, I just got home from our barbecue, and you probably noticed that my footage is super wonky, and it's totally because my memory card that I grabbed for some reason was like really tiny, so I couldn't fit any more data on it, so I had to use my phone, which is like not ideal, but I still think that it hopefully accurately portrayed how delicious the macaroni and cheese was. It was definitely a hit and a total crowd pleaser. I hope that you enjoyed this recipe and you'll give this sort of technique a try the next time you make a cheese sauce or you're doing macaroni and cheese for your family. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you think of this video, what you think of my cheese selections. What do you put in your mac and cheese? What kind of cheese is your favorite? Let me know. Of course, come back for more mom stuff, lady stuff, and life stuff. I post new videos every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, and I would love to have you, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!